All right, good morning, everybody. I usually don't respond to these type of comments. You'll have to excuse me though. My car is a little noisy. Anybody wants to donate to fix it? I just got new brakes yesterday, but still the other noise is still there. Let me know. We could even make it a donation to the shul. Takes a little bit more effort to get that through, but we can work that out also. Anyway, but it certainly will help my channel because this is really the only time I have to record videos. I don't want to take time away from my family to record videos or make them be quiet. That's the main thing. So anyway, I'll just have to talk louder. Sam D. Rahman al-Islan, I don't even want to repeat the heresy that he's saying against the whole foundation of the Torah. I guess you can read it there, even though you shouldn't read such horrible, evil words. Nonetheless, what is our answer to this, to those who deny the truth of the Torah? So first of all, he's attacking Moses, he's attacking Moshe Rabbeinu. Now, the truth of the Torah, as the Rambam explains, and as we can really read in Deuteronomy chapter 4, is established by virtue of the fact of one thing: national revelation. It wasn't just Moses went up to the mountain, like you see in the movies. The Bible tells us, the Torah tells us, that the whole nation heard God. Millions of people. There were more people at Mount Sinai who heard the words, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I'm the Lord thy God, who took you out of the land of Egypt, you shall have no other gods before me. There were more people who heard God say that than whoever met George Washington in his life. If we accepted the existence of a man named George Washington, who was the first president under this Constitution that we have and love existed, we accept that as a historical fact, then as we would use the rabbinical parlance, kal v'chomer, all the more so. Eifir Tori, don't know if I pronounced that right, that we accept the truth that God spoke at Mount Sinai. And that is the answer to all of that. If someone would come and tell you that in the middle of the Super Bowl, a UFO came down and had a message for people, if it happened, you would have heard about it, and if it never happened, no one would believe it. But the simple fact that for over 3,000 years, not only Jews, but people of all different religions have accepted this as a true historical event, what happened at Mount Sinai. And now they're discovering archaeological evidence to support that as well, although the Saudi government is trying to cover that up for whatever reason, which doesn't make any sense, because Islam is also one of the religions that believes this to be true. They call that mountain Gebel Musa, the mountain of Moses. They also recognize Moses as a prophet, and that God gave the Torah to the Israelites, that Allah gave the Torah to the Yahud, as they would say in their language. So what is to Israel? So why would they want to cover that up? They should want to share that with the world as well, because it supports our shared heritage of the three Abrahamic faiths. But in any event, the historical fact of the Exodus and the revelation at Sinai it has a more solid foundation than just about any other historical fact in history. If you would deny that, you'd have to deny almost anything that's accepted as a historical fact. Meaning you accept there was someone named Julius Caesar, someone named Cleopatra. There were less people who saw any of these people in history much more recently than who heard God at Sinai. And the fact that it was believed, meaning that when you have one witness to something, you can take it or leave it. But when you have multiple witnesses, it makes it much more difficult. And when you have a national witness, you have millions of witnesses, it's impossible to make up a story like that. You can't get away with making up a story like that. Just like I said about the Super Bowl. You can't get away with no one would believe such a story if it didn't happen. And so the whole ideology of the documentary hypothesis that was made by anti-Semitic Germans in the 1800s has no basis in any archaeological or historical evidence. It's just a pipe dream. And it's actually quite silly for anyone who is a scholar, even in the slightest bit of the scripture. When you see the names, for example, that are in the Pentateuch and compare them to the names of later books of the Bible, Daniel and Ezra and Nehemiah, which are Ezra and Nehemiah are in one book, etc., Esther and so forth, it's a totally different style. And more than that, the fact that there are so many textual, not variations, textual, what would be considered to any grammaticist errors, shows that the text has been preserved throughout the years and there was no redactor. One of the primary ideas of higher criticism is a redactor. Well, they did a pretty lousy job if they didn't, if they didn't correct all the spelling errors and grammatical errors and so forth all throughout the Pentateuch, because they're not errors. They're divine. There's a tremendous spiritual and mystical depth behind the reason why things are spelled a certain way in the Bible. And again, those are things that you might not get out of a translation, but if you look in the Hebrew, it doesn't follow the rules of Hebrew, and certainly not the rules of Hebrew that would have been around in the time of Ezra or Nehemiah or Josiah or Daniel, like the higher critics want to claim. Those want to claim a later date for the Pentateuch. The fact that it's been preserved with, as someone coming from a secular point of view would say, with warts and all. But it's not really warts. It's actually something very good and holy and deep. And actually you could make a lot of homilies out of these textual expressions. And that is where it comes down to. So thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, comment. And yes, Moshe emes v'seirosei emes, ani mamim b'buda shlema, shekol divrei neviim emes, ani mamim b'buda shlema, shemoish Rabbeinu haya av l'neviim l'kaid v'lefonim l'boim achrav. I believe with perfect faith that all the words of the prophets are true, meaning the prophets of the Hebrew Bible, what the Christians would call the Old Testament, excluding what Protestants would call the Apocrypha, or Catholics would call the Deuterocanon. And I believe that Moses was the greatest prophet of all of history, both of those before him and those after him. These are basic dogmas of Judaism, and I believe them with perfect faith. And the word faith is not even the best translation, because emunah means is related to the word uman, someone who is a professional, someone who's proven himself. We know, as Deuteronomy says, we've been shown to know that the Lord is God and there's none but Him. This is not an issue of blind faith. This is, you can read books on Jewish apologetics. It is very, very easy for anybody who is not, does not have an interior bias against religion in general, that Judaism is a true faith, that it's a fact, not just a nice religion, not just a nice heritage, that the Torah is a fact of history, a fact in general, as much as anything in history or science or anything else. It meets all of those criteria, and I would recommend 2 books by Rabbi Lawrence Kellerman, Permission to Believe and particularly Permission to Receive, that bring these ideas in a very clear way. Or if you want more traditional sources, of course, we said Maimonides, Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah, the laws of the foundation of the Torah, the Kuzari from Rabbi Judah Halevi, and other traditional medieval sources bring these philosophical answers in a very clear way. We look more later in the 19th century Rabbi Hirsch, or the 20th century Rabbi Victor Miller. All of these great apologists have made the arguments for Judaism that are very clear and irrefutable, really, scientifically speaking. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, comment, and we'll see you later.